Chapter 13. Joseph. I vomit between my car and the curb. Whoa, whoa! Nikki shouts from the driver's seat. I can't help it. The anxiety, nerves, and energy drained from me after everything that just happened. I let it all out on the pavement. I was face to face with Nora only a minute ago, and now here I am standing outside of Mendax. I sprawl myself across the back seat and shut the door. Drive! Nikki steers the car from the curb and weaves through the traffic. I lower myself below the windows to keep from being noticed. As we turn right onto a busy street, I peek my head up to see the Mendax building now far behind us. I let out a sigh of relief sitting up. I can't believe it actually worked. Nikki catches my eye through the rearview mirror. What the hell happened in there? I got it all, I say between quick breaths. Photos, videos, my conversation with Nora. What? Kit's head peeks out from the passenger seat. You talked to Nora? Every word she said to me in the control room. I pressed record and kept the phone in my pocket. I wiped the sweat from my forehead, then hand my phone to Kit. You were right, Nikki. The fake phone worked. I pretended to be using it, and they didn't search me after confiscating it. I knew it! Nikki laughs, tapping his heavy fist against the steering wheel. I told you, it works every damn time. I use that trick on the police all the time. I roll my eyes. Hey, easy with that crime talk. I'm still your lawyer. For one more day. Nikki smirks at me through the rearview mirror. When you win my case tomorrow, I'll be a free man. Nikki's voice is brimming with joy. I smile, though I'm unsure of what will happen when this case is over. I've grown comfortable having Nikki around. Despite the heat we've been under with this upcoming court hearing and look away, I like to think we're on the verge of becoming pretty good friends. You fucking did it, Kit says with my phone pressed against his ear. He looks over his shoulder at me. Keeping your phone while in your pocket when you met Nora was genius. I'm listening to the conversation, and this chick is a straight up witch. As Nikki and Kit scroll through the photos and videos I took throughout Mendax, I reflect on how everything has fallen into place up to this point. I spent all week with Nikki and Kit, getting more comfortable in front of the camera, sharing a hopeful message with the world that now knows who I am, Nora included. I'm on the brink of exposing one of the most powerful networks, forcing me to consider that I'm risking my life. But I'm risking my life to earn the reward of helping others see what I see, which is a life worth living, regardless of how broken we are. After a long night of recording and editing the Mendax footage, Nikki and I make our way to the courthouse the next morning. I make it a point for us to get there early. I like to think I've come a long way since the last time I saw Judge Bailey, and I want to prove to her that I'm a changed man. I can't believe my suit fits you, I tell Nikki from the driver's seat. It doesn't. Nikki looks down at the dress shirt I picked out for him. Given the width of his chest, the shirt buttons could burst any second. He couldn't look more uncomfortable, and I can't tell if it's because his hearing is today or the suit he's wearing is trying to suffocate him. He itches his bare face. Man, I haven't shaved since I was 13. I feel like a kid. I laugh under my breath. Believe me when I say that judges know every detail behind a case. That includes your appearance and the effort you put into it. The only thing this judge is going to notice is how small my tie is on me. He chuckles as he lifts his tie, then lets it fall halfway down his shirt. I feel bad for making Nikki wear one of my suits, but I've been in Judge Bailey's courtroom enough to know that she appreciates the effort. Nikki's making that effort, which will only strengthen our case. I tap his chest with the back of my hand. Hey, I let you wear your sneakers. I didn't have to do that. You didn't have a choice. My foot is 4 inches bigger than yours. Size is irrelevant. Nikki laughs. In jail, you learn that size is very relevant. We make our way into the city, and I merge into the flow of traffic. The city's energy surges around the car, the symphony of car horns and distant sirens competing with the smooth jazz on the radio. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous about today. Cases are always based on the facts, and while I have the facts, there is always an off chance that the jury can be swayed in any direction. You nervous at all? I ask with my eyes on the road. Nah, I know you got me. I smile. It's nice to feel trusted. The people I represent don't trust me the way Nikki does, and I don't always trust those people the way I trust Nikki. Every case I've been a part of has gone down the same way. The person gets into legal trouble, they give me a call, we meet in public a few times, we have our hearing, I win or I lose. Nothing special, just a routine. It's the job, and I just do my best to get the job done. I'm paid regardless, sometimes more for proving my client's innocence, even if they weren't. But Nikki's different. I've seen a side of Nikki I wasn't supposed to see, and Nikki's seen a side of me he wasn't supposed to see. So, I guess you could say this case is personal. I'm nervous about being a dad. Nikki's words catch me by surprise. Being a dad? I ask. When you look at a guy as strong and tough as Nikki, you don't think he could get nervous about anything. Why are you nervous about being a dad? Nikki anxiously tugs at his shirt sleeves. I never had a dad. I sure as hell won't know how to be one. He flashes me a half glance. You seem like a pretty good one. I've been watching the way you are with Stevie. I fold my lips between my teeth, his words penetrating the indifference I feel most of every day. Being a good dad is never something I actually sought to do. It's more of something I've become. Being Stevie's dad is simply something I am. Do I think I'm good at being a dad? No chance. I guess it just comes with the effort of raising a kid. You don't choose to be a dad, let alone a good dad. You become a dad, and you do your best in hopes that your kid will one day appreciate all you've done. What happened to your dad? I ask. Wish I could tell you. He was never in the picture. My ma wasn't the best neither. She was always on the corner or shooting up in the living room in front of me, Kit, and the other kids living in our apartment. A pit forms in my stomach, picturing Nikki, Kit, and other kids seeing their mom drugged up or selling her body for cash. Well, look at it this way. You get to set the bar however high you want to. You get to raise your kid to be a better person than you, your mom, and your dad combined. It's up to you. You get to pick your path. You don't get it, man. I can't be a dad. Tanya's having this baby soon, and I got a criminal record that goes on for days. Ain't nobody gonna hire a bad dude like me. And I don't know any different from the life I'm used to anyway. I pinch my brows together. What do you mean? I've never made a clean dollar. I make my money the only way I know how to make it, by breaking the law. How am I supposed to provide for a kid? That can all change today, Nikki. We'll figure something out. We'll get you a clean job making clean money for you, Tanya, and the baby. I finish my statement wanting to bite my tongue. Damn it, Joseph. There you go again, taking on responsibilities you can't afford to take on. Nikki looks forward, his posture reflecting serious doubt. While I want to give him the pep talk he needs, I'm starting to think his fragile demeanor will win Judge Bailey's sympathy, so I keep my mouth shut. Holy shit! I slam on the brakes, my car stopping within a foot of people weaving between moving traffic. Get out of the way! I shout, my hands raised. They ignore me, joining a crowd of people walking up the road and along the sidewalk. Nikki's head swivels left and right. What's happening? No, I whisper under my breath, checking the time. We're due in court sooner than I'd like to be. I catch sight of a few signs held above the bobbing heads making their way up the road. Is this some kind of protest? I spot the courthouse in the distance. The crowd's density thickens at the foot of the stone staircase in front of the tall, white building. My mind races as I think through different outcomes. I refuse to settle for the outcome where I walk into this courtroom late again. I refuse to hear the security guard remind me that I'm late again. And I refuse to let my friend down. We're getting out, I declare, my eyes fixated on the courthouse. Nikki's eyes widen. You want to ditch the car? We don't have a choice. Get out and guide us to the curb. I'll park the car and we'll run the rest of the way. His eyes light up at the opportunity to do what he does best, which is intimidate others. With a smirk on his face, he says, Alright, fuck it. His pants are so tight they almost rip as he throws the door open and stands outside the car. He barricades the car to my right, towering over the hood and extending his palms in the driver's face. My buddy's switching lanes. The driver lays on the horn but lays off when Nikki clenches a fist. He allows me to switch lanes as if it's his choice. Nikki walks to the next lane and does the same, then again until I park along the curb. I grab my briefcase from the back seat and shut the door. I'll be honest, I exhale, combing through my greasy curls. I did not think that was actually going to work. We merge into the river of people walking along the sidewalk. They talk among each other, their random conversations mixing with the sound of distant chants I can't make out yet. Nikki effortlessly parts the crowd for me, the two of us forcing our way toward the courthouse. Excuse us, I shout, compensating for Nikki's ferocity. Pardon us, sorry. Don't apologize, Nikki mutters back to me. You have somewhere to be and these people are keeping you from it. He shoves a man out of the way. Easy, pal. The man nearly drops his sign, stumbling to his right. As we pass, I catch a glimpse of his sign, the large letters beckoning for my attention as they spell out, Look away. The moment we make eye contact, he lowers his sign in shock. It's him, I hear him say as we continue on our way. He's here. A few heads in front of us turn back at the commotion, eyes widen at the sight of me behind Nicky as he continues parting the crowd. I can't help but look back at these people, picking up on expressions of admiration and respect. "It's Joseph!" a woman shouts. "He made it!" another one adds. "Life's lifeline, baby!" Did I miss something? I say to Nicky's back. The lifted signs face me as the people do, some with printed photos of me captured from the videos we've posted, and others displaying my quotes. "You were born to live. Life over death. Look away. Look away. Look away." As Nicky and I continue through the crowd, my heart pounds. My thoughts form a blend of disbelief and gratitude. I've become an overnight sensation, an icon for a movement that celebrates life against the backdrop of a television show glorifying death. Everywhere I turn, I see my face lifted high, conveying messages of hope and resistance. It's a moment of sheer humility because never in my wildest dreams did I imagine being cherished by so many, let alone cherished by my own self. I struggle to process this newfound fame as we make our way to the courthouse. It's through the cheers and genuine praise that I find the strength to carry the weight of responsibility I've accepted. I credit the moral goodness I've opened myself up to, acknowledging that I didn't get to this point alone. I find clarity amid the chaos in this city as I'm welcomed by it for the first time. Sure, I'm on the path to the courthouse, but I'm also on a path transcending the boundaries of being a once suicidal criminal lawyer. I've been entrusted with the power to be a force for true justice, an agent for change, a lifeline for life itself. Nicky no longer needs to move people out of our way. The crowd parts for us now, making it easier for us to walk up the stone steps. The white columns of the courthouse stand tall above me. Its presence once intimidated me, but with the validation of my new identity, I've outgrown the intimidation. A wall of police officers stands at the top of the staircase. A few recognize me and open their stance for us to pass, but the crowd buzzes behind me, their praise motivating me to face them. "Wait," I tell Nicky. I slowly turn to look over the stone steps. People from all walks of life are gathered, packed below me as they wait for me to speak. Confidence forms with every breath I breathe. Phones are lifted high, all pointed in my direction. I spot pictures of my face along with the now iconic picture of me leaving the show. After clearing my throat, I shout, I wish I could find the right words to express how grateful I am right now. The crowd roars, giving me a few crucial seconds to collect my thoughts before I continue. I look up, begging God to guide me through this, to speak through me. A sudden wave of clarity washes over me, words and ideas eager to be spoken over the crowd. "I'm Joseph. Many of you know me as Life's Lifeline, the leader of Look Away." The crowd cheers. Before I get in there, I wanted to take a moment to say that we're not too different, you and I. We're broken. To some degree, we aren't happy with ourselves or the life we live. You see, Mendax knows that about us. They know that we're broken, and they're trying to convince us that life is not worth living so that they can decide our fate for us. The sad part is that it's working. Suicide and crime rates are higher than ever, and that's exactly what they want because if we're too busy worrying about ourselves, we won't have time to worry about the true evil Mendax is pushing. Listen, the truth of the matter is that we're all gonna die, but that's only because we're fortunate enough to live. We didn't earn life. We didn't do anything to deserve it, which is what makes it a gift. I pick a phone to lock my eyes on. Death has cloaked itself in the form of entertainment. Mendax is doing death's bidding. Don't be fooled. Don't be misled. Look away. The people below me erupt, lifting their signs and posters high. A surge of energy flows through me, provoking me to lift my arms and wave. I feel empowered, strengthened, chosen. My eyes fixate on a woman in the crowd. She lifts her right palm to her face, shields her eye, and looks away. It's the same motion I made the night I walked out of Greater Good. I make the same motion over the crowd, and as I look away, I turn back to Nicky. He flashes me a smile, but it dissolves when he looks up over my shoulder. He points to the top of a nearby building where a woman in an orange shirt is standing on the ledge. I notice another woman step up onto the ledge of the neighboring building. Her orange shirt pops in contrast to the gray sky above. To my left, 2 more people in orange shirts stand on the ledges. The people on the rooftops all look my way seconds before. "No!" I scream, "Don't!" They gracefully lean forward, throwing themselves off the buildings bordering the crowd. Their bodies flatten themselves against the pavement at different times, and upon hearing the loud cracks of their now shattered corpses, the crowd's cheers become deafening screams. The crackling sound sends the crowd into a panic. People run in different directions, and in an instant, a peaceful gathering becomes a feud of flying fists, smoke, and fireworks as people in orange shirts spring from the crowd. Orange becomes all I see as a man lunges toward me, his fist barely missing my cheek. "Fuck you!" he screams, his eyes tainted by pure hatred. The police around me seize the man and charge down the steps, wielding batons they use to beat innocent and guilty people alike. I stand stunned, eyes fixated on the back of the man's orange shirt that reads, "This is my greater good." Nicky throws his arm around me and then guides me back through the entrance. As the stone floor becomes tile and the screams are muffled, my mind is spinning, hands are shaking, heart is racing. I realize that if I'm going to become the influence I set out to be, it comes at the price of becoming a target. "You've become quite the celebrity over the past few weeks, Joseph." Judge Bailey's voice bounces off the wooden walls as she enters the courtroom with commanding grace. Dressed in a black robe, she ascends the wooden steps to her elevated bench as we stand out of respect for her authority. She sits and subtly gestures for us to sit too. Her lazy eyes land on mine. "It's nice to see your dazzling personality being recognized for once." I sit casually, twiddling my coin to keep my hands from shaking. "I'm just happy to give the people something to talk about," I manage coolly. Judge Bailey lowers her chin, observing me from above her glasses. "So you like what the people have to say about you?" "I've heard nothing but positive things, though I just witnessed hell on earth." "Well, you must not watch the news then." "Watch the..." I pinch my eyebrows together. "I'm on the news?" "Anybody who owns a TV knows your name by now. You've been mentioned in almost every news headline today." My heart plummets, and an audible gulp gets stuck in my throat. I've been so focused on my name circulating social media that I haven't thought for a second that it might have landed on the news. I pull a handkerchief from my coat and pat my forehead, fighting off a cold sweat. The last time I appeared in a headline on the news, I was in my living room shortly after the accident. I came home from the hospital one night to pick up some of Stevie's toys. Before leaving the house, I noticed the TV in the living room was on. I remember slowly walking in, feeling the presence of somebody, something watching the news. It was the first time death was in my home after it took my wife. It turned my attention to the screen, and I read the headline written under the aerial shots of the car wreck. "Devastating car accident claims life of a woman. Leaves child in critical condition." I pulled the plug from the TV without hesitation. Before Stevie was even able to come home after months of physical therapy, I had already sold the house to pay off the medical bills and bought a house in the Bronx. Little did I know that night was only the beginning of my relationship with death. "Forget what they're saying on TV." Judge Bailey's voice brings me back to the present moment. "Whether or not I agree with them is beside the point. I swore an oath to judge your case based on facts alone, even if the world wants you behind bars for trying to cancel a show created to help people." I narrow my eyes at her, then hold my tongue. Judge Bailey has been brainwashed along with the millions of other greater good viewers. I don't want to ruin our chances of winning this case before it even begins, so I keep my mouth shut. I place a comforting hand on Nicky's shoulder, reminding him he's in good hands. He nods, keeping his eyes fixated on the table below him. Nicky's spot is a difficult place to be, fighting for his freedom a couple of months before his first kid is born. Out of all the criminals I've taken a stand next to, he's the only one I've grown close enough to feel. I feel for Nicky. A man simply trying to navigate the trials of life while seeing the world through a lens tainted by crime. "All right, let's begin," Bailey sighs. "Mr. VERITA, I trust you're prepared to present your defense today." I straighten my stance. "Indeed I am, Your Honor. With the commotion you've caused outside of my courthouse today, I would like to cut right to the chase so we can get everyone out of here safely. Your client stands accused of armed robbery, even though the gun in question was later proven fake. How do you plan to navigate this delicate situation?" "Your Honor, the evidence will demonstrate that my client, Nicky Williams, was not the perpetrator, but rather a victim of severe mental distress, which led to chaotic circumstances. I intend to present compelling witness testimonies, including my own account as a witness. Judge Bailey raises her eyebrows, adjusting her glasses. Whispers flood the room from behind me as the crowd processes my statement. It's not often that a victim of a crime is also the defendant of the criminal behind the crime. My eyes pan around the back of the courtroom as the crowd's eyes fall back on me. I notice a familiar set of eyes staring from the second row, eyes belonging to the person who can win this case for us. I thought I saw your name a few times in the case file, Judge Bailey mutters. I thought your name listed as a witness was a mistake. You think your involvement will compromise your ability to represent your client? I casually stroll around our table, weaving my coin between my fingers. Your Honor, my dual role in this case may be out of the ordinary, but it also allowed me to form a unique bond with Mr. Williams. It has given me a perspective that no other witness can provide. I know my client isn't innocent, but your client committed armed robbery, Mr. VERITA. Forgive me, Your Honor, but my client was not armed. The gun was fake, and he had no intent of hurting anybody. The fake gun was just as much of a weapon as a pencil could be. Whether the gun was real or fake, the gas station cashier was forced to comply with Mr. Williams' demands. I look around the room for Anthony, the cashier. A sigh of relief escapes me when I realize he didn't show after all. That's right, I say, suppressing my gratitude toward the only man who could take Nikki down. I understand that. According to New York's Penal Law 16005, it should be decided that Nikki here is guilty, but under the third degree. With no intent to cause harm and having stolen no more than $100 in cash, I humbly ask that you reconsider his sentence from imprisonment to house arrest along with the rigorous community service program. Judge Bailey laughs. You want me to minimize his sentence to nearly nothing? Under what grounds? Under the grounds of the gas station cashier refusing to testify and my first witness being the expecting mother of Mr. Williams' firstborn child. I open my stance, my eyes hovering over the crowd until I find the familiar set of eyes. I would like to call Tanya to the stand. I flash Tanya a warm smile. She stands with one palm pressed over the curve of her belly. Judge Bailey's eyes soften as she watches the bailiff guide Tanya to the witness stand beside her. She sits, the chair creaking beneath her. Can we find her a more comfortable chair? Judge Bailey scolds the bailiff. Go find her a more comfortable chair. For Christ's sake, the woman's pregnant. Tanya's beading sweat, quivering in a creaking chair. I watched Judge Bailey grow more sympathetic toward her by the second, which was my goal since I came up with the idea of asking Tanya to be a witness. Tanya reaches into her bag and pulls out a loosely folded piece of paper. She clears her throat, then says, If you don't mind, I prepared my words for today. Judge Bailey respectfully nods. Go right ahead, dear. Tanya's shaky hands lift the paper, and though she's not the best reader, it strengthens our case all the more. I understand that what Nikki did was wrong, she reads, but I want to shed some light on the circumstances that led him to believe he didn't have a choice. Her eyes well up with tears. We found out about the pregnancy 7 months ago, and we were thrilled. But the reality of our financial situation set in. Nikki, the loving and devoted partner he is, felt overwhelmed with responsibility. He needed to provide for me and our soon-to-be child. The room holds still, awaiting her next words. A few tears trickle down Nikki's cheeks as Tanya continues. With Nikki's upbringing and record, he can't find a job to make the money we need to pay for our child's needs. We're trapped, with no way to bring this baby into the world. Your Honor, I need you to understand the desperation Nikki faced. He believed that robbery was the only way to secure some quick funds. It was for our child. The atmosphere was somber, the weight of Tanya's words resonating with every heart in the room. I'm not defending his actions, she continues. I'm just asking for leniency, to urge the court to consider the circumstances that led him astray. More time in prison won't help him. More time in prison won't help our baby. My Nikki needs leniency. He needs guidance and support. Please don't make me raise this baby alone. She lowers the paper to her lap, her testimony lingering in the air for all to inhale. I study Judge Bailey's empathetic expression. Nicky uses his short tie to pat his cheeks dry while I hold back my smile. Tanya's tone, along with her fragile demeanor and shattered gaze. She delivered the speech I wrote perfectly. With the gas station cashier's absence, and after the testimony spoken by Tanya, Nicky, and myself, the entire room was a puddle of sympathy and understanding. When I'm finished speaking, I sink into my seat beside Nicky. His large hand envelopes my knee, and I turn to see him smiling thankfully. Win or lose, we won. Judge Bailey flips through her notes. After a few silent beats, she looks up at me from over her glasses. Mr. VERITA, I must say I'm impressed. Partially by you, but mostly with the support you gathered in this case. Every time I've seen you defend clients in my court, you defended them with a surface-level obligation. Her eyes flick between Nicky, Tanya, and me. But it's evident that you have done your research. You wrestled with not just what happened at the scene of the crime, but also what led to the crime. I find Mr. Williams not guilty of the original charges against him. Nicky and I grab each other, preparing to celebrate until Judge Bailey shouts, but Mr. Williams will be under house arrest for 6 months and will receive a strict community service program that must be approved by the court. She slams the gavel against the wood block beside her. Case dismissed. We celebrate as people exit the room. Nicky lifts me up from my chair like I'm lighter than air. As we express an abundance of gratitude for each other, the near-empty courtroom becomes the scene of a sweet victory, or a tragedy in the making. The headline reads, A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, Meet the Man Sabotaging Greater Good, published Saturday, August 10th, 2019. In a world where kindness and selflessness are celebrated, a dark and sinister figure has emerged, threatening to overshadow the good deeds of today's top-ranked TV show, Greater Good. Meet the enigmatic man who is quickly gaining popularity across social media, but beware, for his intentions are far from good. While the TV show seeks to give meaning to the hurt and conflicted people of the world, Joseph VERITA, cloaked in a facade of charisma, cunningly deceives the public with hollow pep talks about his version of moral goodness online. A master manipulator, he is a wolf in sheep's clothing, exploiting the brave souls taking their lives on stage in order to serve his own sinister agenda. As he gains followers online, his intentions become unclear, but one thing is evident: VERITA cannot be trusted. He has stirred doubt and division as his protesters take to the streets, violently opposing a show that only serves to better the community. With each viral post and trending hashtag he and his entourage share, he manages to incite controversy and chaos, diverting attention away from the genuine efforts to make the world a better place. While Mendax continues to shed light on those living in darkness, VERITA spreads misinformation and mistrust, tarnishing the show's reputation and causing rifts within the community. Beware the wolf in sheep's clothing, for his intentions are far from noble, and his actions threaten to overshadow Mendax's genuine philanthropic efforts that deserve our attention and support. Together, we can ensure that the true spirit of helping others prevails, undeterred by the shadow cast by this deceiver. The blog post on Media Flow reads, The Rise of a False Prophet, What You Need to Know About Joseph VERITA. As Joseph VERITA spreads false accusations about Mendax's intent in creating Greater Good, it's best you know the truth. VERITA has recently taken to the internet, sharing a conversation he allegedly had with NORA FICTUS, Greater Good's creator. The self-proclaimed visionary has garnered attention by exploiting Mendax's philanthropic efforts, and now he threatens the production by creating a fake audio recording he claims belongs to NORA FICTUS. Fear not, Greater Good fanatics. MediaFlow and other social media partners have run multiple fact checks on VERITA's content, concluding that his photos, videos, and recordings are fake. While this false prophet's rise to prominence is marked by a combination of charisma and persuasive rhetoric, skeptics are raising concerns about the authenticity of his claims. An abundance of sources have reported that VERITA has an extensive network of criminals throughout the state of New York. Authorities are monitoring the situation closely, urging the public to exercise caution if approached by VERITA or any of his cult-like followers. Man, I don't know about this, Nicky groans. The two of us stand in the middle of the vacant street, staring up at the church. I've seen dudes do community service by picking up trash on the side of the highway. That's more my speed, not this. I squint up at him. You're telling me you would rather pick up trash on the side of the road than mop floors in an air-conditioned building? Judge Bailey let you off easy, and I'll tell you, she didn't let you off easy because of you or me. She let you off easy because she felt bad for your kid. So you don't get to be picky with how you serve. Just serve. A few days have passed since the trial, giving us time to reflect on a successful case and go all in on Look Away. Kit has been working wonders, creating captivating videos of Mendax and myself. I'm still no internet expert, but with Kit's guidance and Nikki's support, the numbers continue rising. Stevie and Ava are even taking part in the movement now. While most of the kids at Stevie's school voice their negative opinions of me, a small group of kids are actually fans of what we're doing. I know that 10 times out of 10, Stevie will take that small group of kids over being alone the way he was before. Ava has been helping me organize my thoughts into words, the two of us spending late nights writing scripts for the videos we make. The scripts are made up of personal accounts I've had with criminals I represented in the past. With Ava's passion for writing and my experience in shedding light on people who have seen the darkest of days, our message has blossomed into one of inspiration and hope. I brought Nikki to Ben's church to fulfill his community service sentence. More importantly, I know that if Ben gets enough time with Nikki, then Nikki will no longer have doubts about being a good dad. If Ben could rid me of my self-doubt the way he did, he'll be able to do the same for Nikki. It's the first time I've been to Ben's church during the day. The church is run down, borderline abandoned, but the inside is serene. The warm-colored walls and tile floors blend seamlessly from the wide entryway into the sanctuary. The interior is traditional, with long wooden benches that stretch to both sides bordering the wide center aisle. Red, green, and blue hues seep in through the mosaics lining the walls while a center spotlight illuminates the large wooden cross above the stage in front of us. My phone vibrates and I see it's an incoming call from an unknown number. I decline the call, then slip the phone back into my pocket. I've never been inside of a church before, Nikki says softly as we reach the front row. Positive Pathways meets every Thursday night here in the basement, I reply, our eyes fixated on the cross. What's Positive Pathways? My support group. It's a couple hours of broken people talking about how broken they are. Does it help? I like to think so. I turn to see his gaze narrowed in on mine. I'm doing better than I was before I started coming. You think it helped me? Nikki's gaze hardens from the outside in, a depiction of the battles fought, mistakes made, and scars born deep within his soul. Despite his lengthy criminal record, I know he's innocent on the inside. He's just a product of the environment in which he was raised. Like all the other criminals I know, he simply got lost somewhere along the way, and the world shows no mercy on the lost. We turn our heads at the subtle sound of conversation near the church entrance. Ben is finishing a conversation with a professionally dressed woman who taps on the thick folder in her hand, then toward the rest of the sanctuary. Ben nods and they shake hands. Once the lady leaves, Ben lowers his head. My voice echoes across the empty church as I tease. I didn't know you had a girlfriend. Ben is caught off guard by our presence, but after a moment, a warm smile spreads across his face. Didn't mean to scare you, I add as we approach him. Good to see you, Joseph. He checks his watch. Sorry to keep you waiting. I just received an unexpected visit. Everything all right? I ask. Ben nods, but it's not convincing. She works with a real estate investor who wants to buy the church property. Nikki and I exchange a look. Maybe I'm just paranoid, but my mind goes straight to Mendax keeping tabs on me. Now that they know who I am, who is to say they won't come after the people I know and the places I go? Regardless, I'll take payouts like this over death threats every day of the week and twice on Sunday. It was quite the offer, but I told her God's house is not for sale, Ben says enthusiastically. He extends a hand toward Nikki. You must be Nikki. I open my stance to a timid Nikki and they shake hands. Joseph told me you found yourself in some legal trouble. Nikki's eyes flick to mine, then back to Ben's. He politely nods, making him appear smaller than Ben even though he's twice his size. Yeah. I made a mistake and I have to do community service because of it. And Joseph, we thought this would be a good place to start. Ben patiently nods, doing what he does best, listening. He smiles up at Nikki, then says, This is a great place to start, my friend. Joseph also tells me you'll be a father soon. Nikki lets out a shaky laugh. Kind of, he murmurs. What do you mean? I'm not ready to be. Ben steps forward and nearly stands on his tiptoes to place a comforting hand on Nikki's shoulder. I hope you'll believe me when I say that God will never present you with a situation you can't handle. My bet is on your child becoming the blessing you never knew you needed. Take Joseph here, for example. Just a month ago, he was the quietest in my Thursday night group. Now he's a celebrity fighting the good fight. Nikki has played a big part in that, I add, patting Nikki on the back. My phone vibrates again and I'm quick to mute it without looking. Ben, do you mind signing the court documents saying Nikki can do his service hours here? Of course. Just show me where to sign and we'll get you involved. Nikki hands Ben the contract. As Ben looks it over, I pull out my phone and see a new missed call from Stevie's school. The atmosphere around me tenses as my paranoia kicks in. Stevie's school never calls me. With trembling hands, I call the number back. The world around me fades to the background as I hear the woman's voice. Mr. VERITA? This is he. This is Principal Anderson here at Pioneer Middle School. We've been trying to reach you. What happened? Is something wrong? Well, not exactly, she replies. Stevie's here and he's alright, but we think you should come in because he's a bit shaken up. Shaken up? Why shaken up? We found him a few blocks away from the school after lunch. He claims to have been escorted off campus by a friend of yours. My grip on the phone tightens. Principal Anderson continues speaking, but I no longer hear her. I imagine Stevie being lured out of school by a stranger. I picture him innocently believing that whoever kidnapped him was actually my friend. I slowly turn to Nikki and Ben, the two picking up on my impending episode. Mr. VERITA? Principal Anderson's voice pulls my attention back to the phone call. Tell Stevie his dad is on his way. I hang up, and as I pass Nikki and Ben, I say, It's Stevie. Everything alright? Ben asks. I need to get to him now. I snap. I'm driving, Nikki says as we head for the exit. I'll get us there faster. Panic surges through me, not because Nikki is driving like a madman, but because I can feel in my gut that my son is in danger. My heart pounds with the car's erratic movements, my fingers clutching the edge of my seat as Nikki swerves. I scroll through the various scenarios in my head, each revolving around Stevie's life being at risk because of me. What friend of mine would visit Stevie? Whoever they are, why would they take him out of school? And if their aim was to kidnap him, why would they return him? My breath shallows as I come to the realization that their aim wasn't to kidnap my son. Their aim was to send a message. Nikki's forearms are throbbing from his death grip on the steering wheel. We tear our way through the Bronx, each person we pass staring in awe. Fucking red light, Nikki mutters. We stop near the intersection and notice a group of teenagers standing on the corner. They glance at us, then whisper among each other. Nikki leans over the steering wheel to get a look at them, then says, I think they recognize you. One of the teenagers slowly raises his right hand to the side of his face. He covers his right eye, shielding his view from me as he looks away. It's the same motion that lady made to me in front of the courthouse. I do it back to the teen, indicating that we're on the same side. The light turns green and Nikki speeds through the intersection. That signal y'all just gave each other, did you make that up? He asks. What was that? Some lady did it the day I spoke outside of the courthouse. I did it back and I think it's become some sort of symbol for the movement. I reply, slightly confused. I can't believe it, he exhales, his eyes fixed on the road. By now I knew you were a leader, but what I just witnessed? That shit is different. You're becoming an icon. Sadly, becoming an icon comes at a price. I sigh as Stevie's school comes into view. Nikki pulls up in front of the entrance. I fling the door open and sprint into the front office. A few ladies behind the front desk are taken by surprise as I struggle to catch my breath. I'm Joseph, Stevie's dad. He's with Principal Anderson in her office, one of the ladies replies. She points behind the front desk. As I pass them, I hear their slurs of disapproval. That's the guy, they scoff. He's the one on the news. I couldn't care less. With the media's goal being to paint me in a bad light, I can't help but feel bad for the people consuming their lies. With my mind locked on Stevie's well-being, judgment has no effect on me. In fact, it's the opposite. I welcome judgment with open arms. If my name is on your tongue, it means I'm on your mind, and I'm starting to like that. I was a nobody for so long. It feels good to be somebody worth thinking about. I knock before opening the principal office door. I lock eyes with the two police officers, then Principal Anderson, and finally Stevie. A wave of relief washes over me and I drop to my knees to hug him. It's a side of my child, safe and unharmed, that makes the outside world irrelevant. In this moment, there's no movement that matters. There's no greater good that matters. What matters is that Stevie is safe. The smile breaks across Stevie's face, and fear loosens its grip on my heart. Are you alright? I ask, grazing my thumb over his cheek. I'm fine. I'm alright. I slowly rise to my feet. What happened? My eyes flick between Principal Anderson's and the police now standing by the door. How could you let a stranger take my kid? The two officers hide behind still expressions and guarded responses. I pick up on a sense of reluctance to provide me with answers. I take a deep breath, my desperation to know who laid hands on my son becoming too much to bear. One of the officers grips the baton, prepared to use it if I act out. Sir, calm down, one warns. We're going to need you to stop yelling. Yelling? I ask calmly. I'm not yelling. The officer removes the baton from their belt. I told you to calm down or we'll be forced to arrest you. With my hands raised, I reply, I'm calm. What is this? He's not doing anything wrong, Stevie yells. The second officer unclips her taser from her belt, stepping toward me. Stop, Principal Anderson states. The officers stop in their tracks, still focused on me. I'd like to speak to Mr. VERITA and his son alone, please. It will only be a moment. The officers are reluctant to leave the room, but eventually obey Principal Anderson's command. I exhale a shaky breath. Principal Anderson, you have to explain what's going on. I understand your frustration and confusion, Mr. VERITA, she says calmly from behind the desk. She cautiously makes her way around the desk, separating me from Stevie. I am just as frustrated. You know my student's safety is my priority, and I'm looking into this the best I can. But there's a bit more to it. Her eyes flick to the door, then to me. A woman took Stevie away from the campus for a short time. Stevie said it was no more than 10 minutes. One of the teachers pointed out Stevie returning through the parking lot by himself. He doesn't seem fazed by the encounter, but he returned with this. She hands me a golden envelope. It's for you. The envelope gleams in my fingertips, its surface reflecting the light with a captivating allure. I run my fingers over the smooth, gilded edges, the middle of its surface reading Mendax. A chilling sensation spreads up my arms, reflecting the chilling mystery inside. The officers, Principal Anderson adds. They showed up at the school before we even called them. It's like they knew it was going to happen. They didn't ask many questions about the lady who took Stevie, and they didn't take any notes. I think they're here for you. They might be looking for some reason to arrest you. I lift my eyes from the envelope. A look of genuine fear is written across Principal Anderson's face, and I'm left to consider that she's right. After releasing the photos, videos, and voice recordings from inside Mendax, it would only make sense for them to silence me, to lock me away. They know where my support group meets. They know where Stevie goes to school. How many other messages will Mendax send before I feel their true wrath? We need to get out of here, I mutter. But how am I supposed to get past a couple of corrupt cops? Do what you've been doing, Principal Anderson says. Record yourself. They won't get away with corruption if they have thousands of eyes on them. Genius. I pull out my phone and begin live streaming. I point the camera lens at myself, my face filling the screen as the number of viewers on the top right grows by the second. 27 viewers, 138 viewers, 897 viewers, 1,716 viewers. The number grows, comments now flooding the bottom half of the screen. Life's lifeline! Look away, gang! Fuck you! You saved my life for real! I fix my eyes on the screen, speaking with conviction the way Kit taught me. I'm gonna come right out and say it. Based on the response to my last video exposing more of NORA and greater good from the inside, Mendax is now threatening my family. I'm here at my son's school where I think they're trying to have me arrested so that I can't spread my message. A message you all know I'm spreading in your best interest. I flip the phone's camera, hand it to Stevie, then step into the camera's focus. I'm taking my son out of school for his own safety. While we leave the office, he is going to film us peacefully leaving so you can all testify if we're falsely accused of anything. We're keeping calm, so if you see them apply unnecessary force, you're all witnesses. Stevie points the camera at the door. Thank you. I mouth to Principal Anderson, knowing she can't fathom how grateful I am. She nods, then slowly raises her right palm to the side of her face and looks away. Chills cover my arms as I'm reminded of the magnitude of this movement. From teenagers on the streets to school staff members, there are people among the crowd who are on my side. Mendax can threaten me all they want, but it only proves that what I'm doing is working. I open the door. Stevie lifts the phone as I push him into the front office, the phone screen revealing staff and students standing idly by in the shadows as we pass. The room is silent, the atmosphere thickening with suspense as eyes flick between the officers, Stevie, and myself. Some teachers offer supportive smiles and nods, others express looks of disapproval, leaving an unsettling undercurrent of judgment in the air. One of the officers leans forward. Before he can step toward us, he's stopped by his partner, who notices Stevie recording. "Not so tough now, are we?" I tease with a smirk. The phone screen is now showing the two officers between the growing number of viewers in the bustling comment section. I can hardly make out the number of viewers, but as long as the people around us assume the public eye is on them, we can't be touched. "Smile, officers." Stevie teases the cops when we reach the exit. "We're live." They grit their teeth, remaining motionless as their eyes follow our every move. I never realized the power that comes with the eyes of thousands watching a scene unravel. After all, reality is a culmination of each unique viewpoint lending its weight to the truth. And as our viewership grows in this moment, so does the potency of truth in what's happening here and now. It's difficult to believe in something nobody has seen, as opposed to believing in something everybody has seen. Nikki picks up on our urgency as I roll Stevie to the curb. He opens the door and lifts Stevie into the back seat while I load the wheelchair. "They don't look too happy," he whispers, starting the car. The two officers now stand behind the entrance doors, straight-faced. Eyes of students and teachers fill the windows on each side of them. "What the hell happened to this city? Everywhere you go, people love or hate you." That's just about the truth of it. I lift my palm for Stevie to place my phone. I thank the viewers, end the live stream, and then crank my neck back to see Stevie. "Are you okay? Tell me everything that happened." Stevie's eyes drop to his lap. "There was this woman with short black hair. I couldn't get a good look at her face because she was wearing these big sunglasses and a hat." "Did she threaten you?" My voice cracks. "What did she say?" Stevie winces at my words. It dawns on me that a mere change in tone can make kids think they're in trouble. I patiently watch him overthink his next words as if certain words are off limits. "Stevie, the lady was standing outside of my classroom when lunch started. I was the last to leave the room like I always am, and when she saw me, she seemed super happy. She was really nice, actually. I thought she was a teacher, then she told me she's an old friend of Mom's." My heart drops, my stomach tightening into a rock at the center of my core. Stevie's mom didn't have many friends, and the few she had didn't live anywhere near us. For a woman to suddenly appear at Stevie's school asking for Stevie, claiming to be a friend of his mother who died years ago, it just seems unlikely. My eyes fall to the golden envelope that rests in my fingertips. "We were only a few blocks away from school," Stevie continues, his voice quivering. "She told me a couple of stories about Mom, some from high school and others from Mom's old neighborhood in New Jersey." "What was the lady's name?" I ask, my voice sharp. "Was it Nora?" Stevie pauses. "I don't know." I clench my jaw. "You just went off with a stranger without knowing her name?"
"Joseph."
Nikki attempts to calm me down while driving.
"The kid was confused."
"You're not a father yet, so you don't get to speak on this." I point to the side of Nikki's face. "I raised my kid better than this." I glare at Stevie. "What's the matter with you? You know a lot of people don't like us, Stevie. We're a target. You know the risk I'm taking by being the face of Look Away? I could lose everything. I could lose you." Stevie slouches forward, a layer of fog coating his glasses. "She said she knew Mom," he murmurs, defeated. "I don't even care what you think, because I'm glad I got to hear stories about Mom that you never told me." I pinch my eyebrows together. "I tell you stories about your mom, You tell me bedtime stories about make-believe shit." Stevie snaps. His words are daggers of truth. Hearing your own kid curse at you is powerful. It's even more powerful when the cursing is justified. The truth is, I haven't spoken a word about Stevie's mom since she died. Instead, I tried to suppress the stories about her with illusions like bedtime stories and little magic tricks. I buried our memories under make-believe stories about superheroes, knights, and witches, all to keep me from falling back into the void that death created with my wife's absence. Our car slows to a halt in front of our house. I turn to see the worn brick exterior, the slender trees reaching for the sky draped in a blanket of clouds. Stevie's door opens and I see him prop up his wheelchair through the side view mirror. Stevie, I can do it myself, he snaps. For the first time ever, he sets up his wheelchair without any help. I open my door and pull out my keys. At least Ava will let me in, he says, rolling himself up the ramp to the front door. A sigh of defeat escapes me as I bow my head. It never gets easier, you know. I sit back in the passenger seat and flash Nikki a half glance. It's like a new challenge comes with every year that passes.
I won't handle it any better than you,
Nikki replies.
I know you lost your wife, but you never mentioned how it all went down.
5 years ago, I exhale, tracing the stubble on my jaw. The night I lost my wife was the same night Stevie lost his ability to walk. I silently pull out my gold coin, placing it on the dashboard between us. I was driving drunk and got into an accident. Drove right off the side of the road. One stupid decision cost me my wife, my son's legs, and my will to live. Nikki squints at the coin.
You don't drink anymore because of that accident.
I nod. It's one of the many ways I've tried to repent for the mistake I made. You don't know how tough it is to see your son become a reminder of why you want to live and die at the same time. If death had taken Stevie from me that night, death would have taken me shortly after. It's the pain I see him in that makes me want to die. But then there are these moments where he smiles, and I'm reminded of why I choose to live. My vision is blurred behind tears that deserve to be set free. I can hardly see Nikki in my peripherals, but I feel empathy through his rugged exterior.
I don't know what it's like to be you,
he says softly.
It sounds terrible.
I let out a laugh, letting a few tears fall on my lap. Wow, thanks.
Well, I ain't gonna sit here and tell you your situation doesn't suck because it does. But a good friend of mine once said, you were born to live. He would tell you the same. You were born to live, Joseph. You tell others that. Keep telling yourself. If you couldn't live with what happened to you, you would already be dead. But here you are living. So keep on living.
I place a hand on Nikki's shoulder. You're my best friend, Nikki. He flashes a faint smile.
Just get back to work.
He taps his massive finger over the envelope in my lap.
We have a war to win.
I wipe at my tears, then open the envelope seal. As I slide out the golden paper, a tiny white card falls onto my lap. I pick up the card, my eyes widening at the sight of the elegant letters handwritten across the surface. The card reads, Joseph, there are 2 sides to every story and I know yours. April 9th, 2014. Signed, NORA FICTUS. A wave of terror consumes me when I read the exact date of my car accident. I drop the card, feeling the blood flush itself from my face. Does she know I was driving drunk that night? If so, how? The written note is only a few lines, but I dread the thought of what this could mean. If Nora knows the truth, if she knows I ran away that night, that I drove drunk and killed my wife and left my son crippled, she could bury me. Sure, it could be a bluff. It takes a simple search of my name through Mendax's past broadcasts to find out that I was involved in that accident. At the time, the story Mendax reported was that it was an innocent car accident. But with there being 2 sides to every story, Mendax can make up an even worse story if they don't already know mine. I raise the golden paper that came with the white card, the top reading, Your call to a greater good has been answered. The words below shimmer with a haunting allure, warning me that this is no ordinary letter. It's the golden guest pass Mendax offers to priority candidates they are willing to cast as contestants on their next episode of Greater Good. My mind races with possibilities and consequences, and I suddenly find myself at a crossroads. Death's presence seeps through the car door, making itself at home in the back of my mind. My thumb grazes over the raised lettering at the bottom of the pass. This pass has been personally issued to you by NORA FICTUS, creator and executive producer of Greater Good. I see this pass for what it is, a gift from Nora, a sick and twisted peace treaty. She's giving me an out before she leaks whatever information they have or make up about me. Using this pass to get on Greater Good could be my last chance at repentance for ruining Stevie's life. Not only would I be a contestant, but I know that I would win. Nora would make sure of it. Plus, all the Greater Good viewers know who I am. They all want me dead. I would sweep the other contestants, and the millions I make from ending my life could go to Stevie and Ava. The 2 could buy a home somewhere safe and far from here. Some of the prize money could go to Nikki, and he could use it to support Tanya and their kid. I could even donate some to Ben's church and Positive Pathways and...
Joseph.
Nicky snatches the pass from my hand. He leans forward, conveying resolute confidence in his voice as his words pull me from death's grip. While stuffing the golden guest pass in his pocket, he shakes his head, stating, "You were born to live."